Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Friday, January 4th, 2018. Thank you for joining us. Hope everyone had a great week. The weekend is finally here. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into some solar news. Right now, our solar wind speed is sitting at 482.6 kilometers per second with a density of 8.4. Still looking at AR 2732 as a sunspot number 16, and so far in 2019 we haven't had a spotless day, but that is soon to come to an end here in the near future. Also, it's worth mentioning that the TCI is still at 36.6 billion watts. KP indices sitting at a 3, while the 24-hour max is also at a 3. Now, we are expecting about 40 to 50% chance for geomagnetic activity from the coronal hole that we have here that is turning away from Earth. Again, they are expecting the solar wind to increase at some point on the 5th of January, which is here just in a few hours. Let's go ahead and play this in motion. And right now, a little bit of business here on the eastern limb. Let's go ahead and zoom in and take a look at this active region that kind of quiets down as it becomes near Earth facing, but a little bit of a release right there. So definitely some activity, but as it comes around the bend, everything just kind of dies out right before it becomes into the Earth facing region. Very impressive. Other than that, nothing to speak of as far as future sunspots at this point. Oh, that was the CME that we had. I saw a couple of videos on YouTube and other places where we had a CME. This was some kind of an eruption of a gas bubble or some sort. But anyway, I did remember seeing a few videos today, so this explains that little burst of activity here as we saw nothing Earth facing, so there won't be any effects whatsoever felt from this CME that happened on the far eastern limb of the sun. Taking a look at SPACEWEATHERlive.com, let's check out the other side of our sun, thanks to SPACEWEATHERlive.com. Let's go ahead and here we go, animated GIF. Alrighty here, and we're waiting. So there's that active region that we just saw the CME from. Other than that, we have the active region sunspot currently going away from Earth and turning to the other side. And other than that, we just have that one active region that we watch come over the eastern limb and have a CME. So we will continue to monitor that. Other than that, the sun looks quiet, and we could be in for a long streak without seeing sunspots for a few days in a row. All right, let's jump over here and take a look at the TSI. The last reading we got, which was on, well, here we go. Lots of cooperation tonight here, I see. Well, at least we didn't have another muted start, right? Okay. A little humor there for those of you who catch us on almost a weekly basis here. December 27th, 2018, TSI came in at 1360.6640. It is once again trailing towards that 0.5 value. Very small gains and very small declines. That's how the TSI moves. Taking a look at Strombolian explosions resume at Villa Rica volcano in Chile. Strombolian activity has resumed at Chilean Villa Rica volcano on January 3rd, 2019. The alert for the level of the volcano remains at green, 1 of 4. Its last major eruption took place in 2015. According to the Villa Rica Volcano Observation Project, Strombolian explosions have now resumed after 5 weeks of a break. Lava fountains are currently reaching up to 98 feet above the crater rim, and ashfall was reported on the eastern flank of the volcano. On July 24th, 2018, the POVI reported the vent in the Villa Rica summit crater was about 33 to 50 feet in diameter and about 300 to 330 feet below the crater rim. Minor emissions were also noted. On July 29th, a break in the cloud cover revealed more significant totally lost that. Is my mic still on? Sorry about that, folks. On July 29th, a cloud cover revealed more significant incandescence emanating from the summit than in previous few days. The largest thermal anomaly since August 2015 was identified in satellite images on July 30th. Ash deposits on the edge of the crater were also visible on July 30th. And once, as always, the Watchers has a nice collection of information, pictures, and links. Just a minor situation here, but once again we are reporting, and so are the Watchers, on another volcano eruption, or at least one that is coming out of a slumber. Tropical storm Pabuk hits southern Thailand, possibly the worst in decades to hit during peak holiday season. Tropical storm Pabuk made landfall in the province of Nakhon Si Thammarat, southern Thailand, on 5:45 UTC on January 4th, 2019, with maximum sustained winds of 42 miles per hour. Pabuk brought heavy rain and fears it could end up the worst tropical cyclone to hit the region during peak holiday season since 1989. Thousands of people have left Koh Samui, Koh Tao, and Koh Phangan Islands ahead of the storm. According to the Thai Meteorological Department, no previous tropical cyclone had struck Thailand in January, February, or March in records dating to 1951. Local media said officials are driving with trucks through flooded streets of Nakhon Si Thammarat, urging anyone still there to leave. In quotes, it says, "Anyone still inside, please make noise and officials will help you out. You cannot stay here. You cannot stay here. It's too dangerous." Pabuk is expected to head westward at 12 miles per hour over southern Thailand's popular tourist destinations, with waves of 10 to 16 feet high are possible in the Gulf of Thailand and 6 to 10 feet in the Andaman Sea. Now, thinking about these police vehicles in the streets telling folks to get out, it's too dangerous, you cannot stay here. It almost makes you think of a scene from a movie like The Day After Tomorrow. So that is some serious warning when you have people in the streets yelling to get out of your homes. Around 30,000 residents in Nakhon Si Thammarat province and another 1,000 in the Pattani province were evacuated to shelters due to the threat of storm surge flooding. All in all, about 1,500 schools in 11 provinces were also shut down today to brace for severe weather. Now, it's not that they're not used to storms in this area, but the tropical cyclone is what is the surprise here. It says here, in the past, tropical storms have killed hundreds of people, but authorities say they were well prepared and will be able to cope with this expected storm surges up to 5 meters, which is about 15 feet. The last big storm, Typhoon Gay, struck in 1989, killing more than 800 people. In 1962, a tropical cyclone hit southern Thailand, killing more than 900 people. According to the Thai Meteorological Department, no previous tropical cyclone had struck Thailand in January, February, or March in the records dated 1951. Guys, bear with me. It's been a long week, and there's a lot to talk about, so I'm getting a little tongue-tied and maybe a little bit ahead of myself here as well. As there's, like I said, we have a lot to talk about. Link in the description. Thank you once again to the Watchers. And so we have heard it all. I've seen some of your comments out there, and rightfully so. Where's the snow at? It's warm here in Ohio. It's this here. It's that here. I hear you. We'll get to that. Let's get started here, though. In the west, a winter storm can deliver up to a foot of snow at Lake Tahoe this weekend, with possible even higher elevations, with more expected. National Weather Service in Reno has issued a winter storm warning for the greater Lake Tahoe region. The warning starts at 10 a.m. Saturday and will last through 10 a.m. on Sunday. The storm could deliver 6 to 12 inches of snow to Tahoe and Truckee. Mountain passes could see 15 to 20 inches of new snow. The strongest period of snowfall is expected from noon to 9 p.m. on Saturday. Check this out. Wind gusts at lower elevations could be as strong as 50 miles per hour, with gusts at the Sierra Crest as strong as 100 miles per hour, according to the Weather Service. High temperature on Saturday is expected to reach 38. The Incline Village will be 36 in the South Lake Tahoe. Lows will dip to 32, and Sunday will just be a high of 32 with a low of 32. So this is going to be a wet, heavy snow that will impact this region starting on Saturday morning and could drop as much as a foot as new snow. And then in higher elevations, they're expecting almost 2 feet of snow in those regions. And while we're on the West Coast, weekend blizzard could bring 10 to 16 inches to Oregon mountain passes. An incoming storm could bring 10 to 16 inches of snow to the Oregon's Cascade Range passing through this weekend. The system is expected to arrive in 2 waves and bring snow as low as 2,500 feet, the National Weather Service meteorologist Sean Wagle had said. There is still some uncertainty, but this is looking like a pretty good dump of snow, he says. That's good news for those who enjoy wetter recreation, but it could also snarl traffic. Last weekend, snow on the mountain passes combined with big crowds on Mount Hood brought traffic to a standstill around Government Camp. And also important to mention here as well, not only is the Northeast craving this snow, but also the Northwest, but the Northeast as well has had what we call, especially upstate New York, a drought for snow, as a lot of folks around here are used to having their snowmobiles out and about, and that has not happened as of yet. It says here the first round of snow could bring 6 to 10 inches. The biggest impacts will be on Cascade passes, including U.S. Highway 22, on Santiam Pass, Highway 26 near Government Camp, and Highway 58 on Willamette Pass. We'll leave a link in the description about this incoming storm here. And here's also a chart of windstorm possibility. It's a moderate confidence. It could have downed trees, scattered power outages, travel to difficult with high-profile vehicles. So high wind warning and blizzard conditions in parts of Oregon. No thank you. I'll pass. A little bit of break of some of the bad news on the west. If you like ice and snow, well, you need to fly out to China. If you're thinking enduring teeth-chattering cold is part of fun when you travel, then the Harbin International Ice and Snow Sculpture Festival is the carnival for you. Set in Heilongjiang Province in northern China, it's the world's biggest snow and ice festival and features plenty of spectacular installations and activities. The annual festivity officially runs from January 5th to February 5th, but some attractions open to visitors before opening ceremony, including the most popular of them all, the Harbin Ice and Snow World, made with ice blocks pulled from the nearby Sangha River. This year, the Harbin Ice and Snow World spans over 600,000 square meters and includes more than 100 landmarks. It is made of 110,000 cubic meters of ice and 120,000 cubic meters of snow. In addition to walking up to the gigantic illuminated ice castles, other highlights include an exquisite snow Buddha statue made of more than 4,500 square cubic meters of snow, a 3D light show, and the 340-meter long Northern Lights themed ice slides. So definitely something to check out if that's in your alley or in your neck of the woods. A very gorgeous picture here. And here is a quick report for you Michiganers, or however you say that, Michiganians. What is it, Maury? You think it's Michiganers or Michiganians?
Michiganians?
Michigonians. No, just kidding, guys. So here is the common gripe I hear, folks in southern Michigan, mid-Michigan as well. No snow, nothing to talk about. And another region that is lacking the snow for their winter extracurricular activities, asking ye shall receive is all I'm going to say. But checking out the snow comparison here. 2018, Grand Rapids at 17.6 inches of snow versus the 34 inches that we already had seen at that point in 2017. So here we see the numbers are down from last year, which was a huge uptick, I thought, in winter weather. A lot of you folks up in this part of the country remember when Aaron Rodgers had talked to the media when the team was 1-2, and he told the media to relax. Winter is just arriving late, and I'll get to the reason why I say that. Here's some of the snow depth at this point. Sheboygan, I love saying that word, 4 inches. Gaylord 6, Grayling 5, Alpena 6, Traverse City is 5. So very light snowfall. What's the matter?
All right. Since we're saying all kinds of weird shit here, Jake, first I'll cut in and I'll say Rob is saying it's Michiganites. And I have like this urgent, we have a subscriber who his name is Great Barrier Queefs.
Great Barrier Queefs.
He wants a shout out now. I told him I usually do the shout outs for Super Chat at the end of the show, but he only has 5% battery, so shout out to you. Thank you. Okay, alright, sorry. It was my perfect way to just interject that and get it in for him. I'm sorry, Jake.
Is he drunk?
Well, probably.
Jeez. There you go, buddy. You did it. You broke up the show. Good job. Way to go, guy. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, hello. How's it going, bud? All right, so where am I going with this? Yeah, we're getting reports, most of the country, low snow. Here we are, January. Everybody's like, where's it at? You know, we've been hearing it's going to be worse this year and worse in 2020. Again, my theories is that winter is late, and here we go. So through Sunday, we're going to see parts of California receiving over 2 feet of snow in the mountainous regions. Parts of Washington and Oregon looking at 5 to 8, 8 to 12 inches of snow in localized areas. A widespread area for most of the Four Corner regions of 1 to 3 inches of snow. And, you know, Arizona has seen its recent share of snow as of late. And to kind of help fill the crave now, not so much all of Michigan. All right, Michiganites here. Just the Upper Peninsula, Interlochen, Traverse City. You guys up there are going to see the majority of the snow. The 5 to 8 inches is more likely. Unfortunately, Lansing, Detroit area, it's just not in the cards yet, but we will get to that as well. I am well confident we will see plenty of chances in the next couple of weeks. That is for sure. But I wanted to show this and kind of give everybody an update. Winter is on its way. The temperatures and the snowfall. Now, this is just for a couple of parts of the country. The Northwest, most of the West, some of the Western Plains, and then the upper Great Lakes here, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan parts, North Dakota, the Plain States, the Midwest. You guys are kind of missing out on this one. The far northeast of Ohio, parts of Pennsylvania, and all of New York and most of the northeast, New England, you're all going to get snow unless you live close to the coast here, obviously. But other than that, we are forecasted to see snowfall in the next couple of days. Starting tomorrow, we see these storms kick up. Anywhere from most places, it looks like the majority of us are going to get 3 to 5 inches for sure in the northeast and the upper Midwest. Meanwhile, most of you will see a lot more snow in the mountainous regions, but also we will see an average of 3 to 5 inches of snow in regions that are going to actually receive snow in the first place. All right, so this next article, I kind of want to read this as much as I can word for word. This is a great report. Global cooling since 2016 through 2018 was the 6th warmest year in the past 40 years. From the University of Alabama, Huntsville, January 2nd, 2019. And it says here, Global Temperature Report, December 2018. Global climate trend since December 1st, 1978 is a 0.3 above baseline per decade. 0.13 Celsius per decade. December 18, temperature preliminary. Global composite temp was 0.25 Celsius above baseline, above seasonal average. Northern hemisphere was 0.32 above baseline. Southern hemisphere also at a plus 19 above baseline. The tropics were at a 0.32 above seasonal average. It goes on to show November's numbers of 0.28, 0.27 in the northern hemisphere, 0.30, and a 0.50 in the tropics, all above baseline. The global average bulk layer atmospheric temperatures fell slightly in December to 0.25 Celsius above baseline, led by an unexpected dip in tropical temperatures. It seems the warm seawater temperatures in the tropical Pacific have cooled a bit. NOAA has indicated that this El Nino warm episode may be a mediocre one, and the current modest changes support that view. Global temperatures at this point, December 2015, in the 2015-16 major El Nino event, were at 0.47 and rising, eventually hitting the 0.86 in February of 2016. At the current 0.25 Celsius above baseline, the global temperature is well below that of the last event. The modest nature of El Nino is more revealing in the tropics, where the December satellite temperature values for the last two major El Ninos, 1997 through 98 and 2015 through 16, were plus 0.72 and plus 0.64 degrees Celsius, respectively. As noted above, this December tropical temperature is a plus 0.32 degrees Celsius. The month's cold season adjusted temperature departure from average was located near Altai in western Mongolia, a negative 3.7 degrees Celsius, and the warmest near Dome Fuji in East Antarctica at 3.2 above baseline Celsius. It also says here that the monthly map for December 2018 shows the usual hot and cold alternating patterns in the higher latitudes of both hemispheres. This time, the cold regions are found in eastern Russia, Mongolia, to Alaska, the North Atlantic, Eastern Europe, in the northern hemisphere. The warm spots are roughly in between these, landing in eastern Canada, western Europe, to northwestern Russia, and eastern China to Japan. Australia as well, above average too. The tropical band has shown a loss of heating, with most of the region now near average. The evidence for an approaching warm phase of El Nino continues, according to NOAA, and I love how they stress that. According to NOAA, the warm phase continues, as the equatorial Pacific sea temperatures, both surface and deeper down, are still well above average, though have declined a bit since November. Again, adding this note to the truth of what's being told and what the truth is. Yes, NOAA is still pushing that it's continued towards a warm phase. However, they want to point out here as well that the temperatures have declined a bit in late November. A good portion of this extra heat should make its way to the atmosphere in the coming months. If this occurs, we should see considerable tropical warming in the atmospheric layer the satellites monitor. Because this is December, we will also present diagrams for the entire year for 2018 as a whole. The northern hemisphere mid to high latitudes were dominated by above average temperatures, with the exception being regions in the northeastern Canada to the northwestern Atlantic and Kazakhstan. Globally, the year was the sixth warmest year of the past 40 calendar years, as it was subject to split personality, beginning with a modest La Nina and ending with a modest El Nino. So some interesting facts here, and they list off the temperatures here of the past 10 years here. And it's important to stress that since the peak of the warming, which has stopped in 2016, 2017 dropped down to a 0.38, 2018 this year dropped down to a 0.23. So significantly cooler for now. This is the third straight year of cooling for the globe as far as the lower troposphere is concerned. I'll leave the description and link. I thought this was a very, very good breakdown of what Dr. Roy Spencer has accomplished with his website and the research that he is doing and helping people understand what is happening to our climate. All right, it's video time. We haven't had one of these in a while, so I'll go ahead. Once again, I want to congratulate Mr. Mark Morano for once again making it onto Fox News. And, he's been getting a lot of exposure, in my opinion, the last few weeks. Fox Business and now the regular Fox News itself. And this video is a little interesting. I'll go ahead and play it and pause it if there's any points to talk about. But, guys, this is a good topic to really kind of talk about on our new website, social media platform, and in our forums that we have on Discord. But eventually, I'll get to the website here in a second. But climate change is now being rumored to what the Democrats are going to be running for in 2020. Climate change. So things are about to get very interesting here in the next year or so, maybe even less. It might be here now. You know how campaign season starts 2 years too early. I'll go ahead and play this video, guys.
Today's the day. Democrats take official control of the House, but not the Senate. And one of their main platforms expected to be climate change. Dozens even backing a new Green Deal to eliminate fossil fuels, even if it means raising taxes and hurting jobs. But latest polls show Americans' fears about climate change has never gone above 45%. So is this really a winning message for Democrats? Let's ask Mark Morano, Executive Director of ClimateDepot.com and author of Politically Incorrect Guide to Climate Change. Mark, does this work, climate change, as an agenda item to put you into office?
It has never worked yet. And if you go back, even President Obama tried to make this an issue and couldn't. You have MSNBC who has admitted they can't even mention climate change during prime time because it's a ratings killer. Gallup polling has showed since at least 1989 that...
I want to stop this really quick. This reminds me of a encounter I had a couple days ago of a gentleman, and I'm not going to say too much. Let's just say that this person had a very long career around other important UN diplomats, and this person also is in belief of the sun as the driver of the climate, and questioned at one point all the way back in year 1992 why that the diplomats never ever discussed climate change, global warming / the sun as the climate driver. And the answer from one of the other diplomats was that because the sun was too inconvenient to talk about. Think about that.
The public's concern about global warming has remained relatively stable, with ebbs and flows during the time of Al Gore's original movie and other things. But it is not a winning issue, and in this past election, 3 out of 4 climate-based initiatives failed, including Governor Inslee's Washington state carbon tax, which he wants to run for president as the central theme on climate, but he couldn't even get his own state. Once again failed to pass a carbon tax. So you even have the leaders of this movement failing to get their own troops in line, but yet they somehow think they're going to impose a climate new Green Deal on America.
But I do think the demo, the next generation, because of how they've been schooled, is much more attuned to what's going on with climate awareness anyway. Bernie Sanders says this, he's hardly a Gen Xer. He says we must look at climate change as if it were a devastating military attack against the United States and the entire planet, and we must respond accordingly. What does he plan on doing?
This is silly. We're gonna treat now carbon dioxide, a trace essential gas, with humans inhale oxygen, we exhale CO2, as somehow akin to the Nazi Party and a World War II initiative, which is what they're claiming. They want a mobilization like World War II. Here's the bottom line. This has nothing to do with fighting an enemy. This has the Green New Deal, and everything they're doing is literally, and I go back in my book and show in the 1960s when the environmental movement became radicalized, no matter what the environmental scare was, overpopulation, global cooling, species extinction, famine, resource scarcity, they always had the same solution. More government control, central planning, and this is no different. The Green New Deal and this idea of mobilizing to fight the climate is the exact same. They're proposing central planning, has nothing to do with climate.
But Mark, you are for being responsible, learning new about clean burning fuels and things to that nature. How do you feel about people like Senator Barrasso proposing
and that's another thing I wanted to point out as well, is that along with Mark, we also are the same way. We agree that we have to burn fossil fuels at a responsible rate, and continue to keep the environment as clean as possible. And I find that interesting that is an echo throughout this community when it comes to the global cooling side of things, even though we still believe that burning fossil fuels is not harmful to the environment. We all still want to have clean air and healthy atmosphere as well.
Incentives for people to capture carbon as opposed to penalties and punishment.
Well, there's all kinds of proposals. Everyone's for energy efficiency for a clean environment. Oddly, the more carbon-based fuels you can introduce in the developing world, Africa, South America, Asia, the cleaner the environment gets. You have less people burning dung in their huts. You have less people dumping sewage into the rivers because you get infrastructure. So carbon-based fuels actually improve the environment. And beyond that, everyone wants efficiency, but you don't ban energy that works and mandate energy that's nowhere near ready for prime time, all this so-called renewable, and that's what they're going after here.
Gotcha. Mark Morano, I think you know a lot about this. We'll have you back because this election season has already started. Mark Morano, thank you.
All right, so yeah, we're going to see a lot of Mark Morano this year. Thank God. I think this is the right guy to put out there for a spokesperson for this community as far as global cooling is concerned. And actually, it's not even about global cooling. It's just the fact that we don't believe that man is causing extreme climate change like some of the consensus or whatever the old consensus used to be, because I don't think that's a consensus anymore. But I'm glad to see more exposure for Morano on Fox News primetime, hearing them say that we're gonna see a lot more of you because now it's official. We will see a green campaign being pushed by the Democrats for the 2020 election. And I just went over in an article a few shows back about how the states that had an increase in green energy, being solar panels and wind turbines, also showed a 15 to 40% increase in the price of energy. And the reason why the cost went up is because of the physical maintenance that is necessary to harvest the energy from solar panels and the wind turbines. So right now, when Morano says that these renewables, these so-called green renewables, are nowhere near ready for prime time, he's absolutely right. Until we have a control on the costs of energy because of harvesting this raw energy that we're harvesting from solar panels and wind turbine, until we get a handle of the cost, it's not going to benefit anybody, especially for us average citizens of the world. Green energy policies are being proven right now. They're making people poorer. What's going on in Paris started over a gas tax. They're having a hard time right now. People in their 30s and 40s are having to move back in to their folks' home because they can't find a good job to support themselves. And then their government talks about taxation and more for carbon taxes and fuel costs when they're already paying, you think you're paying $2.89 a gallon for gas is high. Try talking about what they're paying overseas for liters of gas. It's outrageous. The United States, I think, are way lower than most countries overseas as far as when it comes to gas. Heck, I think it's just as close as the border in Canada. I do believe that gas prices are a little higher than what we have to pay. So it's just going to be interesting to see this election season take place if indeed the Democrats decide to push climate change once again, because it's the obvious. It's the obvious what Trump is against, and that is man-made. He's not all in on the science of man-made climate. I'm not saying Trump is a global coolist, but he is definitely not in for man-made global warming, which brings my next article a bit of a head-scratcher today. So we know Trump doesn't really buy the whole IPCC report of human-caused climate catastrophe. But then he goes and, his administration anyway, I don't know if it was him, Kelvin Droegemeier has been appointed as the science advisor for President Trump, but why? Today I wrote up a little article here. Meet the new science advisor for President Trump. His name is Kelvin Droegemeier. Kelvin Droegemeier has 35-year background in atmospheric research and specializes in extreme weather. He is the vice president of the University of Oklahoma's research department and has held that position since 2009. Sounds like a very qualified individual, right? The biggest detail that jumps out to me is his belief that humans are responsible for climate change. Who picked this guy, and is the president paying attention to the people he chooses to advise his administration? President Trump has worked hard to roll back Obama-era EPA regulations, but if the administration's science advisor is AGW, how are these scaled-back EPA regulations going to survive? Now, it's been said that Kelvin Droegemeier has not been hired to advise the president. So what's the point of having an advisor of something and not relying on their expertise? In a way, this is welcome news. This is not the guy we want advising the president on climate science, unless you like high taxes and high energy prices, which I was just talking about with countries over the seas. Could this just be a way to show the country and other politicians that the president is willing to work with people from both sides of the fence? Possibly, but still very contradicting when we are trying to prove the science is not settled on the climate. What a head scratcher. And like I said, the guy is chock full of experience, but the alarming detail about this man is his strong belief in man-made extreme climate change. And what's confusing, like I said, he has surrounded himself, the EPA, the people that run the EPA, they're the ones that are helping release and relax these regulations on coal plants and other fossil fuels. They're relaxing regulations that were restricting companies to their normal business. Now we can start new jobs again. As long as we continue to build carbon capture technology, I don't see the problem with coal-based plants firing back up. But the hope is that he's just trying to be diverse and not having a biased cabinet full of people who believe only in one thing and one thing only. This man is highly respected in his field. And like I said, he's got the experience, 35 years in background in atmospheric research. He's been the vice president of University of Oklahoma's research department since 2009. But the hope is that this is not a way to infiltrate this administration and to trying to pull these regulations back into the Obama era. And that would be completely a reverse, a 180. Not only that, as far as policy goes, but if you think energy prices are high now, wait till they try to roll back the Obama era regulations. So, we've mentioned this before. Sometimes I get flack from other subscribers about politics and climate change, but I don't understand how people don't understand that so much does ride on what happens in our government when it comes to climate change and what's being done about the research and what's happening and why it's happening, and making sure that we're not just being taxed because of some crazed theory that once was a strong consensus. But also, let's not forget, back in the 70s, the consensus was that we had another mini ice age coming in the next 50 years, and that was back in the 1970s. So if things change from cooling to warming, why can't warming to cooling happen without the involvement of man? My biggest argument to those out there who tell me that man causes climate change, well then, can you please tell me why there is atmospheric changes on almost every planet in the solar system? Can you tell me why it's happening on every planet, not just here? And to me, that is a strong evidence that we are in a solar cycle, and it's not just for planet Earth, it's a solar cycle. Whatever is in our solar system is being affected by our sun as well. So I guess my question is man causing atmospheric problems on Uranus or Venus or Jupiter, or causing strange cloud formations on Neptune? Is that because we're driving SUVs and burning coal to warm our houses? That's my biggest debate. Is okay, if man's causing climate change, then why are these changes happening on every planet in the solar system? Why is there some kind of transformation also happening in other parts of our solar system, not just Earth? This is not just about Earth. But I guess some people don't want to get too deep into the science of all that. I guess it'll, blow your mind if you're not careful. So while I'm here on this article, if you haven't noticed, Mari is still in construction on the grandsolarminimum.com. And so far, I'm loving these changes. But the best part, and I'm going to go ahead and turn off my video, because in the corner here, I don't know if you guys can see this. Maybe I'll try to pull this down just a little bit. All right, so here we have at the Grand Solar Minimum, you click on your profile. Now, once you guys get on this website, you can register. I want to show this off a little bit. We're not ready to fully launch it, but it's really getting close, and this is enough to show everybody how this works. But as you guys can see, I have an icon up here with my picture on it, and it says, "Howdy, Jake." And you click on that little picture. You have a little menu that drops down, Activity, Profile. This is kind of like Facebook. So if you're on the activity side of the menu, actually that's the, I don't want to edit my profile. Let's go to my personal page. Again, set up a lot like Facebook and Twitter. You go to your page, you type in what's on your mind, just like you would on Facebook or Twitter, and you post it. Mari is working on right now getting the menu for friend requests so you can search other members. It is up already. Great. So this...
If you go to the social, GSM social menu.
Okay.
That drop down.
Gotcha.
All the options for group and stuff. No.
I know. Hold on. So that's just one of the things as far as using the platform here on the website as another form of social media. And just to show you really quick on the social menu as well, this gets you into, so it's not just the icon, there's two different spots. So clever, Mari, thank you. The GM social menu bar, on the menu bar, activity, profile, notifications, messages, friends, my groups, join groups, members, sign out. So if you want to look for a member, you click on the members. And I guess you would type in, what would we type in? The email, Mari, or the name? Or
it should just be in the drop down. There's two different, let me just go to the site and look, because I don't have it in front of me.
Newest registered.
Well,
oh, gotcha.
The members
Okay.
page, and it should show all the members that have signed up, and then it'll show
so
that you're friends with.
I'm gonna add a friend, the Starman. He's in here. Penelope. Mari told me who that was. And like I said, guys, this just got started tonight. Mari is still beta testing this, but if you guys would like, come on over to the grandsolarminimum.com. That's the grandsolarminimum.com. Register with the site. Once you register with the site, you can then go to the GSM social on the menu bar, and you click on activity, and that will take you to a lot like how you go to Twitter and Facebook and type in share links, share videos, show photos.
Did you do the group yet? I didn't pay attention.
I did not. I'm not gone through that yet.
Okay.
So just like Facebook, you have a messages box, notifications, and then you go to the groups. My groups. Right now, I think Mari's got me in, the only two that we have?
Well, I don't know if you accepted the weather one yet. I'm in the process of making more groups. I'm testing it out to see how it goes. So essentially, what made me do this is our censorship on all forms of social media. It's very hard to get the word out. So I'm building our own platform from the ground up to just have uncensored without being interfered with by YouTube or Twitter or Facebook or any of them. It's just we post it, we know what's going out, and I can control that people are being notified and all that. So this is just the beginning, and I'm really excited for the social aspect of it. GSM Social, I've given Penelope and Starman their authors on the site now, so they'll be able to soon. I gave them access to do it, to make their own posts and have more content available on the site. I just need to sort of explain the process. It's a learning process. A lot of people aren't used to this particular platform, so I'm excited where it's at right now, and mostly just I know where it's going, and it's a beautiful thing.
Well, Maury, we have you to thank for this awesome job so far, and I know you're not even done yet, so stay tuned, folks. There's still a lot to go into this website, but I felt like showing off a little bit of piece of what we're working on here. Like I said, we're trying to make it our own social media platform. I can't tell you how many times we've had links taken down off of Facebook where we've exposed truth about CO2 and what's really causing warming and cooling, certain interviews or certain papers that have been removed because, again, Facebook, it's inconvenient to talk about the sun. Let's take a look at our national radar. We have a couple of things happening over the weekend. Some light things, like I said, we talked about earlier. We have a couple of storms. The real action is going to start up early beginning of next week. And let's start off on Saturday. That low pressure system moving through the Ohio Valley, just going against the East Coast barely. And then we get into Sunday, into Monday, and we have a couple of low pressure systems. Northwest, you're still getting pounded with snow. We already talked about the 10 to 16 inches we're expecting in the Northwest and parts of Oregon, also in the Sierra Nevadas. The foot of snow that is also expected. But then we have a system moving in on Monday across the northern plains, the upper Great Lakes. Michigan, you'll finally see some action of snow. By overnight, Monday night into Tuesday morning, we will start to see snow spread into New York and into the Northeast. They are calling for an event of about 5 to 8 inches for the most part of central New York and the northeast part of New York as well. By Wednesday of next week, we'll get another shot of snow to the northeast. This could be another quick 1 to 3 inches and quickly move out. It looks like some lake effect snow is trying to happen here on Thursday, January 10th. So we'll have to keep our eyes on Buffalo and Syracuse and watch and monitor how much snow we actually get. Another mess of a storm in the Northwest next Thursday. And as we move into next weekend, another low pressure system sweeping in from Canada. And this is where we're going to start seeing a lot colder air moving in. Ohio, southwest Ohio, January 13th looks like your first significant snowfall, but only about an inch to 3 inches, possibly 4 to 5 in localized areas. As this low pressure system moves through on the weekend through Sunday, into Sunday afternoon, into Sunday evening, just enough to stop by Monday morning, and hopefully the commute into work and school is fine, but on the way home there is a chance for redevelop of snow on the back end, and this is where we start to see those cold temperatures in the Ohio Valley in the Northeast. Another shot of snow January 17th, racing through the mid-Atlantic states once again to the Northeast through January 19th into the 20th. So a couple days ago, I told everyone that between the 7th and the 17th, we would see the best chances for snow in the Northwest and in the Northeast. And so far, that is what we are seeing right now. The Southwest is getting a little bit of a break, action in the higher elevations, but from Indiana and eastward, you're going to get at least 2 decent chances of some accumulating snow at some point. Now, it's going to stay an all-rain event, Kentucky and southward. So we're not expecting that deep, frigid, cold air yet. And that's going to come later in the month, closer to the 20th of January. Again, that stratospheric sudden warming has just begun. And it usually takes about 2 to 3 weeks to feel the effects. Now let's take a look at some of the temperatures that we're going to experience closer to that event, especially as we get through Wednesday and Thursday of next week, where we're expecting more snow chances as well. That Arctic air is still hanging out in Canada, but by the 11th and 12th, it's starting to penetrate the northeast and the northwest, and also in the upper Great Lakes and the northern plains. We'll also start feeling a little bit more of that frigid Arctic air moving through the 14th of January. The 15th is when I expect to start seeing that deep freeze go through the south. A friend of mine, Jimmy Norden, out there in Lithia Springs, Georgia, you were asking when you're going to get that cold and dry weather. I'd say it's going to happen right around the 15th of January, 15th on a Tuesday, and that cold will hang around in the Ohio Valley into the northeast as well as the northwest into the northern plains for a good couple of days, and then some even more colder air starts to penetrate the northern part of the lower 48. And by the way this thing is tracking, we get a brief mild warm-up. And when I say brief mild, I'm saying mid-30s to upper 30s. By January 20th, we will start to see some of the coldest air make its way towards the possibly Greater Lakes area, northern plains, and the northeast, from northeast Ohio all the way through New England. So this is something definitely to kind of keep our eyes on as well, as far as when that Arctic blast will finally hit the lower 48, as being predicted by several people throughout the world with this polar vortex split that we have right now. It's into 3 vortices last we checked. Let's take a look at the snow cover, see if we've improved. Here was the last check. In the greens is up around 20 inches of snow. Let's take a look, refresh this real quick. I know I should have had this done already, right? Bear with me, folks. All right, so here we are looking at snowfall through January 14th. Actually, we are looking right about the same as far as snowfall expected through the 14th of January. And you can see where that cold air is. And also, I'd like to believe that with the snowpack that we're going to receive here in the next 2 weeks, that by the time these Arctic frigid temperatures do arrive, that with the snowpack that's on the ground, and I know we're probably expecting between 5 and 10 inches next week altogether. And when that cold Arctic air does arrive, it's going to keep it a little bit colder once we have that 5 to 10 inch snowpack on the ground, if it does hang around. And right now, temperatures up here anyway are going to be at the freezing mark and slightly below. So something to kind of keep our eyes on. The combination of the snowpack here in the northeast along with the Arctic cold coming down from the north could combine for even colder conditions by the 20th through the 23rd of January and possibly longer. Still quite a ways off. And we're taking a look at the El Nino region, 3-4 guys. This is something I have never seen, especially during a El Nino event. We are starting to see specks of green appear in a region where we once saw 30 degrees Celsius out here. Okay? That's extreme cooling. 22 degrees, 25, 26, 26, 27, 28. These areas right here were 29 and 30 degrees. Many of us in the community are yelling Modaki El Nino, and a few of us are saying no El Nino. And I am almost on that path as well as no El Nino. At this current rate, the North Atlantic sea temps are down negative 0.136 below baseline, and the El Nino 3-4 region is still down up a little bit, but still below the threshold of the El Nino. Right now, we are in neutral conditions for El Nino at 0.391. That is below the threshold where we should be at this point of the year. In fact, we should be between 0.8 all the way up to 1.2 above baseline. That's where we should be right now at this point. Wanted to show you guys this the other day, but we didn't have any data out yet. Check it out. There is where we started for 2009. So how does that match up how we started off last year? Bingo. Hey, I don't want to hear it. Gain is gain. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Gain is gain. In 2019, is definitely starting off with more Arctic sea ice extent than began in 2018. In fact, I know it's just a little smudge now, but that line is indicating that it's going to definitely grow much further and a lot more than what we saw in 2018. So, what was that about declining ice in the Arctic? You know, I don't mean to get cocky. I'm sorry. I shouldn't do that. That's not really me. Because we still saw fluctuations from 17 to 16 during our peak years of warm, and then 15, of course. 18 was one of the lowest years that we have seen in quite some time. But the good news for us ice lovers up there in the Arctic is that we are on the increase once again, as we were probably at our record low for the beginning of 2018, but have recovered quite nicely and starting trending up right now as we speak here in January, and we will continue to follow that. Looking at the ice extent up here for January 3rd, 2019, nicely filled in already. Again, people waiting for that snow and cold, be careful what you wish for. They've been warning us about this for a couple of weeks now, about severe weather conditions for the Northeast, parts of the northern plains in the United States, Europe, and Asia, and Russia as well. So, if anything, like I said earlier, we're just looking at a late start to the season, a very late start to the season. All right, Mari, was there anything you'd like to add tonight before we head off tonight's show?
Well, I mean, I've said my... Oh, I just kicked over something. I've said my bit about the GSM Social. Seems like a lot of people in the chat are interested in it. I want to thank... Grizzly is back. Good old buddy Grizzly. He is now in our Facebook group, and he posted pictures the other night, but now he was posting pictures with, who was it? I gotta pull it up because I didn't write it down. What's his face? Oh gosh, let me just look real quick. Jake. So thank you for the super chats. Rob did a super chat. He wants me to work on my Patreon more, and I am, but I'm trying to prioritize what is the safest bet for us first, and I feel our website is the most manageable when it comes to investing in certain forms of social media. It's hard to jump on Patreon right now. I've been hearing that a lot of creators are being shut down and sort of censored without notice. So it's sort of hard doing. It takes a lot of work doing the video editing and all that, and some of the things that we offer on Patreon. So it's on my list of priorities to be working on this month, but I'm a little worried about any social media platforms in general, and I really sort of want to focus on the website first. I think that makes sense. I think a lot of people have seen that censorship. You know, look at like BP Earthwatch got shut down right off of YouTube. Anything can happen, and I don't want to take anything for granted. So I think it's important that we have some kind of structure in place, building a foundation so, you know, things don't topple over. I don't know.
No, I mean, it makes sense. You got to have a backup plan. Nothing is forever. And by creating this platform on our website, no matter what happens to YouTube or Patreon or any other social media platform, as long as there's an internet connection, we'll always have the website where we will be able to stream live as well from the website and continue to share articles and links to other PDFs. Like I said, this is no holds barred when it comes to climate science. Nothing will be held back when it comes to the truth.
Yeah, and it's not that I'm not working on Patreon. It's just it's the beginning of the year, and I have my list of priorities. So I got the website, and then I got another video highlighting year-end, 2018 weather, and then expanding off into all social media formats, trying to just tighten it up because I'm not on Twitter the way I should be and all that. So it's just hard spreading myself. So Grizzly in his group, a lot of people in the Facebook group are probably going to be like, why is this guy posting pictures of him with David Arquette?
So that's what I don't know if you mentioned him or if something new that happened. He's excited about it. So
I'm going to have to take a look into it as well. Guys, listen, we really appreciate the super chats, the donations. I'm sure you'll find the donation section on the website, but the goal is to where this kind of stuff can continue on a regular basis, where we can add fresh content, not just an article a month, but something on a daily basis, and continue to keep updating this. And also from contributions from you guys out there, that really helps things as far as us being able to devote more time to do more research and to post more material on this website, because I think it's really important that we get this website built up as well. Like I said, you never know what's going to happen with the way the world is today and censorship. You got to worry a little bit. So, Twitter, Facebook, Google, YouTube, it could all go away at the snap of the finger. And we'd like to think that we are creating something over at thegrandsolarminimum.com. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight, guys. Thank you for tuning in once again to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. We will talk soon. I think we'll be doing a show on Sunday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. All right, guys, have a great weekend, and we'll talk soon.